The ANC's policy conference in July 2022 was the precursor to the finalisation of policy at the 5-yearly National Conference, in this case the 55th iteration. The ANC says it's looking at the land issue to address availability for human settlement, redistribution thereof, and to boost economic activity in the hands of the majority of South Africans. The party says it will be seized with policy reform that seeks to ensure that Eskom becomes more efficient as a power supplier, given its perceived strategic importance to the development of the local economy. With the constant complaint of neglect, the ANC will be pushing for greater support for SMMEs, which are said to be significant role players in boosting a country's economic fortunes. And the party remains keen to establish a state bank, which it says is an absolute must to adopt. With the country's social ills deepening, especially with unemployment being at unacceptable levels, the party is keen to show that it's a caring one, with the basic income grant agreed in principle.
I think we will hear more about that in the January 8th statement in a few days. We'll definitely hear about it in the SONA, and then we'll have to wait for the budget speech on, I think, the 21st of February, to really see where we are going. I think economically speaking, we have enough and we have the money to deal with that. If we root out corruption, if we root out the misspending of funds and the erosion of government money, then I definitely think we can do something, because that is one way in which we can change the trend of the Gini coefficient.
The ANC continues to look at the issue of nationalising the South African Reserve Bank, even though it's highly unlikely this will happen in the near future, and is also mulling the idea of possibly amending the mandate of the bank to better include issues like the higher cost of living.
Some people say but that model is embedded within neoliberalism, and that the Reserve Bank has to expand its mandate by responding to issues of unemployment, poverty, and even print out money. So that is the rationale behind the argument of nationalization of a Reserve Bank. But I don't think that idea is going to take off the ground. I think the market forces will be vehemently opposed to that.
The ANC is looking to push through proposals that really assist the grassroots economy, like the township and rural economies, the assistance of SMMEs with an emphasis on women-owned and youth-owned enterprises, and says it sees scope for growth in the area of innovation and the fourth industrial revolution, which it's hopeful will serve to improve opportunities, particularly for the youth.
What we may expect is that a lot of the discussions which will be adopted on the 5th will find its way into the State of the Nation address and will find its way into the budget. But then the process of implementation starts.
No matter how sincere and positive its policy positions, the ANC has often been criticised for its ineffective translation of the same, with its inability to populate the state with a high level of competency.
I think the common ground has always been a developmental state, a state that leads development. Of course, I mean, I'm sure you know about this, that this idea comes from Asian tigers, Malaysia, Taiwan, Japan, and so on. But those economies, they had strong bureaucracies. And people were highly skilled and disciplined and highly professional, as opposed to ours. So the problem in our own backyard has been the issue of cadre deployment. There's nothing wrong about that, because politics and administration are like two sides of the same coin. But when you deploy, you must deploy strategically. People who are competent, who are skilled, not willy-nilly.
Other issues on the agenda will include an emphasis on skills development to gear up young people for employment. The focus on infrastructure also continues, especially bringing a halt to construction mafias. And importantly, following the COP27 talks in Egypt, the party will be fine-tuning its position on the country's just energy transition. The ultimate positions will come to light following the policy adoptions tomorrow. Nompumelelo Siziba, SABC News, Johannesburg.